We are on DVD 5 now, a summary of that. So, in this one, he starts with the audience being asked to share what blocks they want to overcome. Dr. Paul goes through what he taught over the previous DVDs and how to use that example. One guy's example was anxiety to talk in public or to an attractive woman. To an attractive woman. Audience member is asked to give the anxiety a number of units, and he said 5. So Dr. Paul said that he did 5 units of courage to stand up in front of the crowd. So that's how many units he gave when he was asked to take the mic and speak about it. And the reward is 5 units of confidence. So you do 5 units of courage to counteract your 5 units of anxiety, and you win 5 units of confidence. They asked him to step onto stage, and Paul explains how courage is very physical. It's a very physical thing. Go and do. Next thing Paul talks about is how the spectrums he's talked about so far are ways to know when you are too far on one end and we have to get close to the middle. So it's like a seesaw, and you're just constantly in balancing act until you level out. And each seesaw he's introduced well-being, nurturing, and confidence, or anxiety, anger, or education and experience. All these you can cross them into uh, this kind of graph he's showing at the bottom. And the one he's showing at the bottom is the intellect and emotion spectra. The spectra crossed create a Cartesian coordinate system. So the Cartesian one below is intellect and emotion. Is it? Emotion. Yep. When we are born, we are way out on the edge somewhere. Okay, I get it. So once you crisscross these two spectrum, he talks about this king, lover, warrior, magician dynamic, and I think it's a Carl Jung book. We're born out of somewhere. We're born into temperaments, and then we add our own character. So you know how when you're born, different people are more likely to be more crybaby, more angry, more happy, more this, more that. So we're born into that, and then we can build up on our character. Yeah. So he explains he liked these words from Jung's book, and he used it to make his own definition. Remember, he's talked about making your own words that connect with you, uh, which is what he's done. So in this one, which is cognitive and emotional spectrums defining all human behavior. Cognitive spectrum, we are left brain, we are right brained. Motherly is nurturing, which is on top, and fatherly is at the bottom. So left brain is the king. It explains below. So now that you've seen this, let's go down to that bottom bit. 4 archetypes: king, warrior, magician, lover. So king is orderly and nurturing. So that left brain has some order to it, but he does not go to war and oversees things like a mother. That's why he's on the top. While the warrior, he's still orderly, but he's more on the courage side of things, and he lacks that well-being of a mother. So he likes going to war. He's the first to go to battle, and they fill up their nurturing by things like overeating before action, indulging in things we know warriors like to indulge in that keeps them going, breakfast of champions and all, whatever you call that. And then the magician is the first to go on stage and is up for adventure, the one who will quit their job to travel. Oh yeah, they go traveling around the world for a year. They are happy to do those kind of things. That's where they fit in well, and they are more flexible than the left brain side. And the lover or fool is not very action prone. I'm trying to think if he spoke any more about that, but we'll leave it at there. Try and see where you are. Your mission is to find out where you are and then practice the skills you have now to bring yourself closer to the center. My personal note is when I went into my juggernaut phase, which I've talked about before, but it's basically I know I'm a thinker. So I broke myself down into seasons where, say, like winter, I can do all the reading, all the education side of things I want. But once things start warming up, I'm happy to go out there. I go more into from education to experience, from thinker to doer. My words are thinker to doer. So I would push myself to the right side of experience as opposed to the left side of education. And it would be like read about things, but then make sure I put things into action. He missed one spectrum, which was decision making, and they go between constructive and destructive. So, constructive would be work over good decisions over your life, while destructive would be to pretend you're on the opposite spectrum where you want to move towards. So, what he's trying to say is fake it till you make it. Let's see if I can. Oh, yeah, this drawing will explain it more. Uh, it's called self psychology, where you put on a false self example as an entrepreneur, put on false self example being entrepreneur. A narcissist will do this and keep putting energy. So you're spending so much more energy into being this fake it till you make it person, which is not sustainable. Then it fails, and then the person's persona will snap back where it was, but even further outside the spectrum when you want to get closer to the middle. He equates this to being a child in an adult's body or a vampire. They're not win win. The little boy will boast about how they'll be president, while the adult will work towards this over their life. And this picture shows that again. So, self integration, cognitive, emotional. So, say you're a king and you want to be a magician. So, you slowly work towards the center instead of jumping there. Because if you jump there, you're going into pathological narcissism, and then you get into your full self, and then you end up going way past where you really are. The idea is to take a small piece, chunk it down. Uh, Peter Jordan Peterson talks about this as chunk it down to such small pieces that it's there's no way you can be unsuccessful at that next step instead of just diving in the deep end. I used to dive in the deep end a lot and then find my way, and it was a big struggle. So it's good for me to know this because I love diving in the deep end of something and then figuring out my way to swim. And sometimes I have drowned, one to me like really badly, crushed and burned. Okay, so we've had that, and then fun fact: every culture has some kind of a vampire myth. He talked about someone who studied vampires or who did psychology on them, and that's what this person told him. And the story behind this vampire is to tell people about pathological narcissism. They're this terrifying yet pathetic people. They're the terrifying and pathetic people creature. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. He points out how opposites will attract, and that the magician male would attract a queen, because magician male is down there, queen is up there, in a way to balance each other and bring each other to the center. Now, I think I have it on my blog, The Science of Happiness. It's a TV series which talked about how love can be calculated in certain cases, especially like I have a sharp, pointy nose, and I'm attracted to the the stubby nose, chubby cheeks, stuff like that, because I'm not that. Um, a skinny person will be more attracted to someone a bit more chubby because psychologically, or this third brain, the what you call it, the reptilian brain, will be like this partner. If I team up with them, then our offspring will be closer to the perfect looking person. And looks is like a whole new ball game. So We can talk about that in the future. I might have a book summary on that. He points out how opposites will attract. Yeah, yeah, we've talked about that. If you ever felt used in a relationship, you might be with someone you might be with someone in your same quadrant where you got along because of your similarities and codependence, but then it got boring. So you just naturally drifted apart. Yeah, so I've got a blog post called Soul Contract, Twin Flames, and Soulmates Redefined, which talks about this dynamic. And how many times have you had this experience where you hit it off with this person so fast, so quick? Now I get so uh, cautious about this because we just open up into each other's worlds so fast. And Sri Sri Ravi Shankar says that in a relationship, you shouldn't be into each other this badly because at some point you'll go this way. It's better if you go like train tracks where you have the same goals, you have the same big values. My wedding speech talks about this. Me and my wife have our big values are very similar, but at the same time we are very opposite in certain things. Like small examples, she is say she likes pizza, pineapple on her pizza. I don't like pineapple on my pizza, so she balances it out, and that way she eats my pineapples. Win-win situation. So that's just a very small example. I don't want to get too deep into this stuff about my missus, but I hopefully you know what I'm saying. And in this case, I would get along, like hit it off with this person, and at some point it's like, ugh, it's just faded away, or we've really burnt each other. We've not actually really burnt each other. We just suddenly been like, yeah, I'm over this. I can't believe I got so into it that I got over it so fast. I I hope you know what I'm talking about. It would be a different case if you're closer to the center and you're both in the same quadrant. Okay, so if you are in that same quadrant and you're very much closer to that center, then you're already very close to self integration. So it wouldn't be a big issue. The further the person is from center, the easier it is to spot these four quadrants. Easier it is to spot them in these four quadrants. Example of how Hillary Clinton was more warrior, Bill was more magician. So there wasn't much well-being or nurturing, and so Bill got some with Monica Lewinsky. Hmm. Wait, warrior is down here, and magician is down there. So he had to go and get some Queensky. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Now this formula, which has been repeating itself, mature masculine power is observing ego, which is outside your boundary. Your mature boundary, which doesn't have walls or holes, but has healthy doors that you can open and close. And inside your boundary, your resources or your tank has confidence. Notice intellect is not part of the formula, so you don't need it for mature masculine power. Okay. Oh yeah. So how many people do you know are have mature masculine power, but they don't have that intellect? Ego defenses. Your mind comes up with strategies for dealing with situations. They are immature ones, like denial and projections. There are mature ones, like future planning, altruism, and humor. Dealing with situations, yes. Denial, projections, victim mentality, blah, blah, blah. But the mature ones would be future planning, altruism, and humor. I would say even like solution finding instead of focusing on problems itself. If you don't have healthy boundaries, you will project your bad characteristics or shadow side onto others. One thing I love doing is when something about someone bothers me, I ask myself where I see it in myself. To me, it's one of the best ways to know where you need to improve. Yes, um, I won't give the person's example, but when someone bothers me, I now I've become so good at it. I'm be like, I know why that's bothering me. I know, even if I've fixed it in me now, it's a part of my past which I needed to fix and I fixed. So that's why it's still bothering me. So then I'll be like, okay, I still need to do some work on that if it's still bothering me, and even if I've gone over it. And if I haven't, then I have a special, like, I go through these plans and things just to find solutions. If you'd like to know more, we can talk about it in future live sessions. It takes a lot of energy to put on a false self and to be around someone who does it. Yeah, it's again back to that Dave Chappelle talking about how when you meet a fake person, they make you fake. Hey, how you doing? Oh, hi, I'm fine, thanks. So you're using an energy which it's not really you. You're more chilled. You're not this hey, where, and that person doing that is bringing out that the same in you. Be at peace with with having two conflicting opinions, or with people liking and disliking you. Yeah, like that's a healthy boundary, meaning any kind of conflict, or with people liking or disliking you. That is a healthy boundary. If you see, like, I really like following celebrities or people who get so much hate and they just unmoved. The most recent one was I really found a new respect for Kim Kardashian in Tom Brady's roast because she just plowed on with what she had to do. And later I found out she was booed so much more in this live situation, all these thousands of people behind her, and she just kept at it. So yep, David points out some great symbolism in the dollar bill where a bald eagle. Oh, I like symbolism, and I really like this one. Bald eagle is on the dollar bill note. It's a symbol from the sky. Has an olive branch in one hand and has 13 arrows on the other hand. So it has peace and it has war. But the eagle faces the olive branch, symbolizing that I'm all for peace, but I'm prepared for war too if it comes to that. So maintain peace, but be comfortable with conflict if needed. You need to stand up for things you believe in if they get challenged. Um, I recently had to stand up for someone abusing their rights in my house, a couple of people, and I had to be at peace with the consequences of that. So that's my example. Now, recommended reading and listening. ETC should have a full stop. I don't know why it didn't autocorrect me there. Save that. Mind OS by Dr. Paul. This whole talk we've been talking about, he's broken it down in a beautiful book. Uh, Pretty simple drawings and stuff like you've seen in this, but still, if you want this book, contact me in one of these links. I've put it there. Contact me if you're interested, and we can see what we can do. He talks about this other book called Sending, and basically what he was saying was he taught David DeAngelo, the host of this DVD set, that you just send the message through in your head, in your subconscious to whoever, and they will get that feeling. Like if you're just looking at someone while you're thinking something about them, telling them in your head that, yeah, I feel like this for you. This is a da, da, da. Apparently it works. Um, I really think a lot of people I've met in my life, we send each other things and we're like, yeah, we get it. We get it. W Dating by David DeAngelo. This whole set on the right, I don't think it's available on Amazon anymore, but it's very rare. He's done such amazing sets of different things from W dating. The next one is Attraction Isn't a Choice, Advanced Dating Program, Mastery Program, on being a man who naturally attracts women, meeting women in bars and clubs. So he's just promoting all his stuff, sexual communication, my interview with dating gurus. Cocky comedy is one of his things he's known for, being like not a douche, but a bit sarcastic, kind of like negging, if you know what negging is. But yeah. And then finally, that last one is the complete gentleman. Complete spelled Pleat, the modern man's guide to chivalry. And this guy talks about, like there's so many guys versus girls kind of things and this and that. I like these kind of messages because this says, hey, we're still going to be men. We know there's a lot of things, but we still need to be complete gentlemen. We still, without giving too much of ourselves or, just being those AFCs, as they say in the pickup game, average frustrated chump. So, guys, this is the end of this one. In 5 minutes, I'm going to start the live session for DVD 6. So, we'll see you then.